Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, joined this weekend, 2 weeks in a row. We have special live shows with my good buddy Torsten, the Varangian Vigilante himself. Torsten, how you doing today, sir?
Very well. I have too much time, so naturally, it's always a pleasure to be in a stream with you. And as you know, I love to talk some Conan.
Absolutely. Now, if you guys didn't catch last week's show, you need to go watch it because we reviewed the first year of Conan the Barbarian over at Titan Comics. It was a great discussion. We've gotten great feedback from it. Still getting viewed. And if you haven't checked it out, if you love Conan, if you like what Titan Comics is doing with Conan, you need to go watch that stream. Now, having said that, this week we're discussing artists that we would like to see get an arc or a one-off over at Titan Comics in the artist category. People we'd like to see draw. Maybe we'll do a writer category at some point. But right now, this week, we're talking artists. And we each have a list of 4 artists. We're going to go back and forth. We haven't discussed with each other who they were. We kind of know because we like this stuff. But we're just here to talk good artists that we'd like to see on there. We'll give each other feedback on who each other picks, whether we think it's a pro or con, whether we think they can handle the job, whether we'd like to see them on a Conan the Barbarian story or a Savage sort of Conan story, or maybe another Robert E. Howard character that Titan has in development. There is a lot going on over at Titan Comics right now with Conan and Robert E. Howard properties, and so far, it's all brilliant. But, you know, Torsten's our guest. Go check him out on Instagram at Varangian Vigilante. Now, let's get kind of into our picks. But when you started to do your research for who you wanted, what were you mainly looking for?
My main approach was that I wanted to pick like an artist that Las Cruces, that I either know that he already worked in the past, like on something in sword and sorcery, but hasn't done a Conan story yet. So, hey.
Not a bad approach.
Yeah, so I didn't want to pick artists that recently already did Conan interior, because of course then I would have picked like probably also something that you picked and also like me.
Right, because I picked ones that did some work at Marvel and stuff, but that I wanted to see them untethered over at Titan Comics without the mouse shackles on.
Exactly, and I also wanted to pick artists that are interior artists, so not just like, hey, I want to see like Perillo to like.
Right, I didn't pick any strictly cover artists because what's the point? Because they usually a cover artist can't carry a story arc because they don't storyboard.
Yeah, or sometimes like it's we've seen it on Dynamite. I think with Shannon Mayer.
Right.
But yeah. Awesome covers, story, not so much.
Right, there's a few that can do it. Like Adam Hughes can do interiors and covers. He's great at it. Yeah. The Dodsons. But before we go any further, we're gonna do your pick first. So we're gonna add this to the stage. And now what we did for everyone watching is we each picked 4 artists. We each submitted 3 pieces from each. So we're going to go over Torsten's first artist that he would like to see, and we'll let him talk as I show you the 3 pieces. Now, Torsten, your first pick was Walt Simonson.
Walt Simonson. Since he's still around, he's still drawing, he's still good at it. And the funny thing is, he did Conan covers, and as we see here for the Hyperion Age Chapter 3, you know, some... It's not interior, but it's more like for an article like for Savage Sword. But he has never done a Conan story as far as I know. But he's a fantastic interior artist. He did one of the best Tor runs. And funny enough, is like his wife, like Louise Simons, did like the third Red Sonja run.
Right. And, you know, this cover right here is one of my favorites.
Yes.
This cover is hard to find in good condition, too, with the white.
The white background.
I recently found a near mint one, and it took me like 4 years.
I believe you. And this is such a wonderful cover. And this is the only Conan cover, I think, that he did. No. He did one Conan Barbarian cover. I forgot, with the giant owl.
Yes. Yep.
He did one Conan and one King Conan cover.
This one's better than that cover.
Yes, this one is way better. But which is so
There's
odd
a weird perspective on the owl one.
Yeah, that Walt Simonson worked so much in fantasy, but we never got a Conan story by him. So I would really want to have to also, to have Titan go back to some of the legends of the industry that are still around, and to give them like a one-off in Severed Sword, just so to pay them respect and also to introduce like their art to a younger generation.
Another thing with Walt Simonson too is he understands how to do period art. He understands how to capture the aesthetic of the time that he's drawn in, or the fantasy world he's drawn in. He understands it.
Exactly. He's he loves, of course, the Nordic mythology. He still work. He also recently still 4 comics, of course, not Marvel's 4, but his own version of the Germanic god. And as we know that, of course, Robert E. Howard also took a lot of inspiration from European mythology for the Hyborian Age. And he's just a perfect fit, and I think it would be very sad if he would not do a Conan story in his lifetime.
Right. And it's funny that you picked him as your first one because he's still alive, right?
Yeah.
I did the same thing with my first pick. I picked this guy because he's worked on Conan way in the past. He's done it really well. He's still alive. He hasn't done Conan in years. And I would like to see him do a Savage Sword of Conan tale because his black and white I really love. And I am talking about Jeff Isherwood.
Oh, yeah. Jeff
a dude that's still working today, still alive, still drawing. I'm sure he would love to get back into Conan. This is like part of what made him famous in the beginning.
Yeah. The funny thing
this piece here
is, that he's sort of hit and miss for me for Conan covers that he did
for the covers, yes, but when he's hit, he's on.
Yeah, but when he hits, then he really hits.
Yeah, like this is another great piece here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I had to throw in a color piece, which is great. Very kind of a different kind of style for him. He kind of channeled Barry Windsor Smith a little in this, but it works great.
But yeah, he also did a lot of work on the ongoing Conan, especially like in the later run.
He did, with some good stories written by Jim Owsley.
Yeah, by
people know today as Christopher Priest.
Yeah.
Because his run was good. Doug Jones' run was good. I mean, not Doug.
Bruce Jones.
Huh?
Bruce Jones.
Bruce Jones.
Bruce Jones. Yeah.
I was just talking about Doug Jones, the actor, the other day. That's why he stuck in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bruce Jones. I have a couple Conan signed by him.
And his Red Sonja run is also legendary.
Yes. But let's see. But yeah, I really thought Jeff Isherwood, especially in the Savage Sword of Conan, I think where he excels is in the black and white over the color.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see a Savage Sword of Conan tale from him.
Yeah, which of course can also be a problem with the coloring of the later Conans.
And he's still out doing conventions too.
Yeah.
He's still touring. He's still an active artist.
Yeah, and this is really good, because, hey, K-pop. It's always nice to hear, from an old artist that they're still around. And most for all, that they still are able to draw quality comics. Because, of course, sometimes with age, it gets tougher, The magazine Conan the Savage that went for 10 issue, the last Marvel Conan magazine after Savage Sword. It had some of the last.
Conan the Savage.
Yeah, it had some of the last pieces of John Buscema in it, and you were able to see that he was not in his prime anymore.
Right. And that's a fun little run. That was a different kind of format, even though it was magazine. Like they didn't really do panels; it just took up the whole page.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Conan the Savage magazine. especially for the Chuck Dixon stories.
Yeah, and that was a tough one to put together. Like it took me about 4 or 5 years to get all of those.
I'm still missing some of those.
What are you missing? You'll have to message me after.
I think 2.
Message me.
Yeah, but I was to count.
You might get them in an A-OK.
Mm.
All right. So let's go back to you. We're going to go to your next pick, and we'll have you take us through this. All right. So we got Jim Balent.
Jim Bailey, yeah, my good buddy Jim. One of the most awesome people out there, and it's so crazy. He did Red Sonja covers, but as far as I know, he has never done a Conan interior or a Red Sonja interior.
Right, and you included one of my favorite covers of his in here. Well,
oh yeah,
this one I had this actually slabbed at a 9.8.
Nice.
Great cover.
I got the whole set of it from the crowdfunding campaign.
But this one is one of my favorites from him.
Yeah, especially since the face, of course, Jim always draws her like his wife, Holly Golightly, and Holly in her prime was a goddess. I mean, she's still a goddess, but when she actually would have been able to be the perfect Red Sonja,
right? This
was her, and this is such
and of course well regarded by the late Frank Thorne.
Exactly, very. There's a lot of fun stories about Holly Golightly and Frank Thorne, which some of them are actually very creepy. but yeah, everybody loves. But we all love Frank Thorne, you know.
Oh yeah, that's a solid pick. Jim again, a working artist. His book Tarot's out all the time. Holly, a working artist, she would do a good.
The coloring, she's Holly. Coloring. Yeah.
Holly who's doing great stuff with Archie Comics right now, but she can draw in very many different styles and knock it out of the park.
Yeah, and the thing with Jim is also he's one of the biggest Conan fans out there. You know, every time something new of Conan comes out, he's writing me. He's like, "Hey, have you seen it?" And they're the best. And he has actually like a really big Conan collection, you know, not just comics and stuff, like weapons and armor.
Yeah, he just loves it. He lives it, right?
He lives in it. That's also the crazy thing, how Jim got in contact with me. It was actually like
I'm a big fan of Jim. I think that's a great pick. I would love to see him do Conan.
I wanna quickly tell the story, like when I bought like my first Tarot comics and I posted them on Instagram. Right. I went to bed and suddenly at 3 a.m. in the morning I'm getting a call via Instagram. Jim Bailey calling me via Instagram and waking up and like, yeah, and it's like, oh, I've seen that you just posted Tarot, and I looked at your profile, and back in the day I worked at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Museum. I say, I've seen you working at the Schwarzenegger Museum. And so he just geeked out, and we talked just Arnold and Conan like for an hour. And I told him, you know, it's like 3 a.m. He'd have to work.
And that's the thing, right? For as talented as him and Holly are, there's not a bit of snobbery in them. If you post something and they like it, they'll actually send you a message. They'll talk to you. They're super nice people, and they're one of those couples in comics that you root for.
Exactly, and it's Jim on my birthday every year sends me like a message, and when they visited like the Frazetta Museum, like the other one in Pennsylvania, I was just at home and suddenly I was receiving like a gift from them. So they bought me a T-shirt and sent me.
Nice.
Jim and Holly are the best people. It's absolutely love them, and it's still so crazy to this day that they didn't give a Conan story to one of the best modern artists and one of the biggest Conan fans.
Right, and hopefully, Titan, we hope you watch this episode, because we didn't just pick people willy-nilly. We put some thought and some love into this.
Yeah.
And the people we pick, I think they also love Conan properly and the properties.
Yes.
And, when you're talking about Jim And you can't talk about Jim without talking about Holly. You can't talk about Holly without talking about Jim. But I would love to see Holly do a Dark Agnes run.
Yes, that would be
I would
perfect.
love to see Holly's Dark Agnes.
Yes, and her art is also so versatile. You know, she can do the real cute Archie art in a perfect way, but she can also really draw like a fantastic, like gritty.
And you can see that with her commission work too. It's
Yeah, especially
amazing.
with her Vampirella cover that also came out by Indiegogo a few years ago, which also I'm very happy that I got those. Is also fantastic.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll watch this episode and they'll reach out to Titan and say, "Hey, these guys think we're good. Why don't you think we're good?" We're just picking Titan. We're not saying you don't think anyone's good. We're just joking around. All right, now for my second pick here. Let's see.
I mean, so
we're
far Titan picks excellent artists and writers. So
right. So my next pick is, of course, one of you and I's favorite people in the artist. Wow, I can't talk all of a sudden. Mahmad Azar. But just look at this King Conan cover.
yeah,
Brilliant, brilliant.
Like the only reason why he wasn't on my list is because I only wanted to pick people that didn't work on Conan recently. Otherwise, of course, yeah, hell yeah, give me Mahmoud in Severed Sword.
Well, his atmosphere. The dude can draw atmosphere. The dude can create a tone. He's good at facial expressions. In situations, it's great. Now here is his like Pocahontas girl. Now this is I took these pictures from the issues I have.
Yeah,
this is what
the
Marvel.
real one.
This is what Marvel took away and reprinted in like a potato sack she had on after or something. But this is the original art, and look how gorgeous that is.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if he would have drew a dick on it, Disney would be all over
it. But I mean, you can't beat that. In this particular story, this King Conan story was fantastic.
Yes, and this is why it hurt me so much.
Right, he had this great story, and then they neutered the art.
Exactly. So he put like his blood and soul into the art, and this is the way that a company that he worked for many years thanks him. And only because a few how to say politically correct? Is that
a few internet trolls complaining about the name.
A few very ugly people on the inside, maybe on the outside too, who knows? A few very ugly people on the inside were offended by it.
Well, I mean, that's the way to get attention these days, right? You got to be offended.
And when those big corporations just give a few idiots on social media attention, I absolutely don't like it. You know, it's even the other way.
Read this story. There's nothing disrespectful in this story. It's clearly a different character. There's clearly no attachment.
If they would,
there's clearly no disrespect meant.
Yeah, if they would throw anybody from my culture, if they would throw a Valkyrie like that, I would be like, yeah, I want to be represented like that.
Right, and that's just beautiful.
It's always the people that are not happy with themselves and they're trying to also make other people unhappy.
Now, but yeah, so and the reason I chose Mahmad is I would love, obviously his color work is brilliant, his painting is brilliant, but I want to see what he can do in a Savage Sword of Conan black and white tale. Yes. I just want to see, because I have a sketch cover from him, which is brilliant, and I slabbed that in a 9.8. And you,
I have an exclusive
ultimate kindness, sent me that same cover, the Italian edition, Conan the Barber, signed and personalized to me from him, which I also got slabbed, so nothing ever happens to it. But I just love the dude's work. It doesn't matter what he draws, and if you follow his account on IG, he is doing great stuff constantly. He's always working. His work is always above par. Absolutely brilliant pencils, brilliant painting, and I really just want to see him tackle the black and white aesthetic for a whole story.
And he's a free agent Titan. You can get him. I mean, he does also a cover now for Titan, so
all great picks, Marv.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're just we're picking people that are still alive and can do them.
Yeah.
But John Buscema is my favorite Conan artist ever, the early Buscema. Now,
Just
like
I
Chris is
absolutely love
saying,
Amethyst.
Roberto De La Torre is taking over that spot pretty well. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who and I also love. There's no disrespect to Barry Windsor Smith. Without him launching that title like he did, I mean his work's amazing. But I think of them in different time periods, right? When I see Barry Windsor Smith Conan, I think of young Conan, just over the walls of Venarium, setting out on his life.
Yes.
Young, he still hasn't beefed up all the way yet. When I think adult Conan, he's seen some years. He's got some past behind him. I think John Buscema Conan.
Exactly. And also the thing is with Barry Windsor Smith, would be great to get him back like for one off.
Right.
However, I think that we got a fair share, luckily, of Barry Windsor Smith Conan. And for my picks, like I said before, I really wanted to pick artists where we got teased with the Hyperborean Age, with Sword and Sorcery, but we didn't yet get like a proper run or a proper one-off by then.
Right. Well, let's go to your next one, and I'll let you introduce him because this one was new to me. Robert Hack.
Robert Hack, absolutely love his work, and I also like Sabrina. So I'm very familiar, of course, with his interior work at Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
And what I love about this cover is Sonia as being a warrior. I like Sonia covers where she's a warrior, where she's fighting, where she's doing what she should be doing. And there she is, right in the middle of it, fighting this monster, this pit. And
exactly, this thing is with Robert Hack that there is almost nobody out there who is better at drawing eldritch creatures than him.
He just has the horror down, huh?
Yes, he's like a master of horror, and you can see also here. This is also one of my favorite covers. A horrible run. Story absolutely horrible. Amy Chu has no idea how to write Vampirella or Red Sonja.
Right. That skull on this is amazing.
Yeah. However, Robert Hack, one of the best, and this is his tribute to Italian Giallo.
Okay.
Giallo in Italian. So basically in the same format with the yellow cover, the Italian pulp stories basically.
Yes.
Like were released back in the day, and later it was adapted into like a film genre by Mario Bava, and from the Giallo, the American slasher movie came from in the end. And of course here Robert Hack's tribute to Gil Kane, to the actually first solo story of Red Sonja, which also is a run that I absolutely not recommend reading because Marjorie Bennett is horrible. Like it only lasted I think 4 or 5 issues, but that cover absolutely beautiful. So hey, couching slouching.
It is. It's
and
nice.
Especially if you compare it with the original work by Gil Kane.
Just those covers once again.
Yes.
So I think also another solid run. And I think the way when I'm looking at his art now, it just looks like it belongs in a black and white format. Like it would thrive there in black and white.
Absolutely. And
because he's got those moody pencils, right? He's got those, yeah.
He also did some recent Red Sonja covers in the current run, which also the run I don't recommend, but the covers are beautiful.
All right, for my third pick, we are going with David Finch, who I'd love to see do a whole Conan tale.
Yes.
Some of his Savage Avengers work was amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
And right there, that captures a mood. That's amazing right there. Just Conan's looking fierce, kind of Frazetta-ish in the face.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we got a good dungeon battle going on here.
I think it was wasn't it a Savage Sword cover from the Marvel from the horrible Savage Sword.
There was a couple good tales in there, but
it was.
And they had some great covers on that run.
Yeah. If they would have named it anything but Savage Sword,
right? Because it was a comic format, not a magazine.
Exactly. So it's like that's why I was so disappointed because it was not a magazine and it was not worthy of the name Savage Sword.
And then this brilliant cover
Oh,
here
I
for Savage
really
Avengers
love
one.
this cover. Yeah.
Just
In general, the Savage Avengers run was the best Conan story we got in Marvel.
it was Gary Dugan, just amazing.
Yeah.
Like you and I always talk about, except for those 3 issues, they forced him to do that stupid null tie-in.
Yeah.
Everything else was brilliant.
And the way also later that Pepone, I think, wrote Conan out of in the Savage Avengers.
Yeah, in the second run.
The second one was also really great, and it was like really heartfelt. In general, it's crazy that Marvel did the best work with Conan in like in the offshoot stories and not in. I mean, of course, the main run was still good, but the main run was it was plagued with censorship and with limitations. But it really felt actually with Savage Avengers that the Dugan got a lot of freedom doing it.
Yeah, and he wrote Conan like Conan. He understood the character.
Yeah, and the funny thing is also in Savage Sword, like the weight of the Stranger Thing got on with Elektra.
Right.
that thing would have been censored in the Conan stuff.
Well, that and Conan taking over the that mansion. He had all the women around him, and
Yeah.
he had all their alcohol out. He was just like he was doing his Iborian Age stuff. Just you know,
it was more free in Savage Avengers than his own title.
completely unimpressed with Doom.
Yeah, that was I absolutely loved the way that Conan and Doom interacted, especially when Conan also thought that like Doom, like a sorcerer that fight his own battles, and he got respect for Doctor Doom. Like the Savage Avengers one, everybody out there try to get the omnibus of the Savage Avengers as long as it's still available, because of course Marvel is not allowed to reprint that because of Conan.
And it was a great complete run. It was one of the best complete runs to me in comic history. It was really that good. The wrap up for that was amazing, and Dugan wrote Conan with such intelligence in those last couple issues, like really delving deep into what makes him him, the choices he makes, where a lesser writer would have did some cliche bullshit with him and it wouldn't have hit.
Exactly.
And Dugan avoided the cliche. He understood the character and he wrote him properly. But we're looking at artists. So David Finch was my number 3. So let's go. Now we each have our last picks. Let's get back over to you, Torsen, and we'll go to your next one.
Which, of course, for American audience is a little bit unknown. It's Michael H. Also Michel Mus.
Yeah, I didn't know him. I'll admit that.
He was born, I think, in '57 in Wiesbaden, but he also has an American education. So he has professional ties to America. I think he's teaching also art. And recently in this wonderful German magazine, Fantasy 3000.
Oh wow!
He's doing the art of Das Schwert der Tuatha.
Yeah, this art here is beautiful.
Yeah, and his art reminds me so much about the best art of the Bronze Age. So I think he would be fantastic I can totally envision that also in black and white, but also the coloring is beautiful. That's
right.
It's just fantastic, and I think he would be really realistic pick, since I don't even know if he lives in the US or not.
Now, what does this say, Torsen?
Pardon?
What does this say?
What is it's like the sword of Tuatha, the island of slaves.
Because she's kind of like a cross between Red Sonja and Belit.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think she's also based on on this Irish, on a Gaelic legend. So basically, the source material is pretty much the same that also Robert E. Howard took for a lot of his stories. So So it totally fits. And when you see here the art, the fight, the movement, it
Right.
just looks. It's also one of these comics where every panel could be a cover. And also here, like this, like you say, it's like it's naturally. You see the nipples out of the costume, just because it makes sense when you wear something like this.
Right. Yeah, it's not gratuitous. It's just
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
Nice, a great pick. And this one was fun for me because I'd never heard of this artist before.
Yeah. Even
So when you
here,
sent these over to me, I took a good look at him just to
like even
familiarize myself.
yeah, even here he was quite unknown to me until but when I researched and I was like, oh, he actually drew also some of the Ip stories from a kids magazine that's like you can buy on a kiosk and train stations, etc. So he's actually did a lot of work in the last decades. So I think it would be great, and especially as you can see that Titan Comics is venturing out and also hiring German artists, as they did with von Fafner in the first Savage Sword. So I think if Titan watches this, contact him.
Yeah, there's so much talent out there. Why not explore it? Why keep hiring the same 5-6 people?
And if a German indie label like Weißblech Comics has the funds to get a nice story from him, I'm pretty sure Titan can afford it.
Right. All right. Now we're gonna go to my last pick. So we'll see what you think of this. So I think so far we both liked each other's choices.
Yeah.
Mine have been a bit more modern than yours, except for Jeff Isherwood. But my next pick is Mike Diodato Jr., who can also do interiors. He's done some. He had a great Tiger series, which was amazing.
Yes.
But this again, a good atmosphere. And
Hey,
Conan this. Look at the savagery in this one. Just amazing.
Yeah, he also even he started as artist in the Savage Adventures, like before Finch took over. So the first issues were actually from
he had
Diodato
covers.
Jr. So he can draw Conan, and he also likes Conan. He also drew what is the writer name? I forgot the horror writer. They did also the Sword and Sorcery story at Dark Horse Comics 4 years ago, where I forgot the name, which was a 4-issue miniseries, and he drew it, and the art is just beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. It's not ringing any bells for me. But I would like to see him again. This is another one artist. I'd like to see him tackle a black and white story because I've only ever seen him do color Conan.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what he can do with just his own pencils and inks in a Savage Sword issue.
Yeah, he's a big Sword and Sorcery fan. What I saw like from him on social media, so I think he would be like one of the first. Aaron Lopresti I also thought about. Since I absolutely love some of his covers that he also did for Conan and Dark Horse.
Right.
Especially like I think he did some fantastic covers for the crossover Conan with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and I almost picked Tomas Giarello.
I always was like Silvestri. I was very close to pick Silvestri.
Mark Silvestri's good. He did. Mark Silvestri you talking about?
Yeah, I almost picked him, but he already did really good work.
He did a bunch of King Conan back in the day, which people don't know about. Plus, he did some issues on Conan the Barbarian. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't realize some of those artists, some of their first work were on the Conan titles back then.
Yeah. Work.
But again, just another good modern artist. I think this guy can he can draw the era. He can draw the Hyborian age.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he also would gladly do it.
Yes, and he doesn't put anything on Conan that doesn't belong on him. Like there's no things that are misplaced.
Yeah.
Like some people they'll put like modern jewelry on somebody or something weird, and it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, he just writes weird stuff on social media, but he's a fantastic artist.
Right. Yeah, we're talking strictly art.
Exactly.
Art
Strictly art.
yeah, whatever their social and political views are, it's not a factor in this.
In general, I highly recommend to, if you don't really know an artist, don't follow them, because sometimes I don't even want to know what they're all about.
Right. Yeah, and and mostly if I see an artist or a writer post something political, I just ignore it.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm following their account for. I'm following their account to see what their next job is. Is it something I'm interested in? Is it something I want to read or look at?
And this is what I love about Jim Zub.
All right, so out of all these people, you and I picked, we had 8 total artists. Now, if you could just go with one of these artists for one story next year, who out of these 8 are you going to pick?
Actually, I would go with Walt Simonson, just because of the sad fact that the clock is ticking.
I was going to say that about Jeff Isherwood too, because the guy added so much to the mythology. Some good, some great, some not so great. But he still has a body of work, and I think he deserves one last hurrah in the world.
Exactly,
too.
And I'd rather have somebody getting, getting a tribute while they're still alive,
right?
Than afterwards, because let's face it, the comic book industry is not the nicest place to the legends.
Right. And, the reason I picked 2 for these artists, a lot of them, the Savage Sword of Conan, is a format like that is great because you can still do a 20-page backup story, have a good body of work in an issue, and it doesn't have to be the main story. You can feel out an artist and how their work is.
And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the readers would appreciate it, because it's the other fact that that most Conan fans are our age or even older. And of course, there are new Conan fans are coming, but Conan is no longer the cultural phenomenon that he was when we grew up.
He isn't, but he's having a good resurgence.
He does, yeah. And, but I still think that like the new fan base needs like a time to build. But I also really hope that it's building. But what I see, especially a lot in the Latin world, I'm not only talking South America, Middle America, but also like in Southern Europe, of course, Spain, Italy, that Conan is still big there. And as you can see with all the Italian releases, like even the exclusive Italian releases, that Conan has a different standing in the Latin world than he does especially in Middle Europe or the US.
Now we're gonna wrap this up in a second, and but I want us to answer one last question each.
Yeah.
Now the last question I want answered is, pick another Robert E. Howard character and an artist that you want to see do that character. So I already stated mine. Mine is Dark Agnes, and I want to see Holly Golightly do a Dark Agnes story. Now, if you could pick another Robert E. Howard character and pair an artist with them, like Bran McMorn or Cull or anyone, who would the character be, and what artist do you want to see tackle them?
I mean, there's a lot of characters I want to see, but most of all, I really think that Cull needs a good story because he really didn't get one since the Dark Horse days. The stuff at Image was interesting, but also went a little bit into a strange direction.
They never finished that Call the Eternal.
They never finished it. I even wrote like the writer and he says like, nah, it's like sadly no chance. Because it was an interesting plot, but it led nowhere because it just got cancelled. And then the use at And they recently used also Cal in this horrible sword and sorcery, also like Avengers team or Justice League that did at what a place I think,
Oh yeah,
which was
the Mighty
horrible.
Barbarians.
Yeah, the Barbarians, which was also horrible. Like I of course enjoyed like
You
the
already
stuff.
know me. I'm not a fan of Ablaze.
Yeah, I mean, I like the stuff that they adapted from the French comics, but everything they did by themselves. Also, there's horrible Bellet Valeria porn
Right?
comic. I love porn, but do it at least with style. um, so, and Carl needs a win. He highly,
John, if I had to recommend anything, I'd say as a new reader of Conan, just jump on the new Titan comics. You can still get them all. It's a great read. Their art is phenomenal. It's a good starting place. And then if you want to see some of the older Conan, just buy some of the collected editions and read them that way.
yeah, I think there should be some of the for the Marvel Epic.
And
Ones, I
Titans
just love in
re-released and all
paperback.
those.
Yeah, I still hope they're gonna release also some in paperback, since it's just way more comfortable to read it
Right. Yeah,
that way, and I don't always wanna whip out the single issues. But yeah, let's get back to the questions, Carl. And
some of the best ways you can collect stuff, John, is just get like there's these old chronicles which are great, but they're releasing new ones called Epic Collections, which are good.
The Dark Horse are quite pricey, especially in the lower print. So when you want to have the whole run, the Dark Horse ones get very pricey towards the end.
Yeah, and scour all your resources. You can find some people selling them cheap on eBay. You can find them in $5 bins at comic shops sometimes because they're old. You can get some Savage Sword of Conans for $2-3 an issue in some comic shops because they just don't move magazines at those particular shops.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. But if you're looking to start, I would say just start with the current run at Titan Comics. It's 13 issues in, and it's absolutely amazing. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, but back to
what would you recommend, Torsten?
Just a moment, back to the question. I would like to see Robert Heck on Carl, because Carl is facing a lot of eldritch horrors, especially or Serpent Man.
Oh yeah,
like a lot of creatures, monsters.
Hex serpents would be incredible.
Yes, so I would really love to see that.
And you could already hear Cole screaming, no, Jeremiah.
Yeah, but yeah, to your other question, what I would recommend is, depends. If you want like digital, very easy to get it all digital.
Right.
Yeah, Conan's huge in Italy. Yeah.
And it's tough to recommend older stuff to anyone because look, Conan's been in comics for over 50 years. Yeah. If you're going to get into the older stories, you got to buy them. I'm lucky I have the whole run. Torsten's got the run. But we've been collecting Conan our whole lives. That's why we have this stuff. For a new collector, it would be insane to try to get it. Just get the collected versions and enjoy.
Yeah, and don't even start with the single issues because once you start it, there's no turning back.
Right. But in the strength of the oldest two is I still do miss standalone issues. As much as I'm enjoying the big arcs now, I still think the single issue format is a lost art form in modern comics.
Exactly. Yes, I really love that you were just able, this is number 180, and I can just pick it up and have a full-fledged story. Where in the background it was building up a bigger story, and
it was okay to have subplots in there, but you could still have a self-contained story.
But today, way too many writers are writing for the trade.
Well, and everything's got to be an epic. Everything does not have to be an epic.
It's exactly, especially in sword and sorcery.
Especially in low
fantasy, it comes from the pulps. It's also the fun thing, I'm a big fan of Moorcock, of Elric, and the old pulps, the Elric are so vastly different from anything that Moorcock wrote later with Elric, which is way more high fantasy.
Right. And even old titles too, like pulps like Kothar the Barbarian, where it was just short form fiction are fun.
Yeah.
Just a lot of good stuff. All right, nice. So, Torsten, anything that you would like to say in closing, sir?
Oh, just
No? Oh, well,
have a savage weekend. Read something that you like. Have a
right.
great time, and don't worry about the shit that bothers you.
And I'm going to kind of echo that. Look, guys, if there's something you're reading and you love it, and other people are down on you for it, screw those other people. Enjoy what you enjoy. Don't be afraid to love what you love. And if anyone doesn't like it, well, they're not reading it. They can just shut their mouths.
Exactly, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing here, you know. And also, like, my biggest tip is don't be a completionist. Buy the stuff you like. There are Conan issues that I wouldn't touch with an iron glove on, because they are written by people who absolutely had no right to ever write a Conan story.
You talking some of those 90s Conan 3-issue ones?
Some of those, and of course also some at the recent Marvel run, especially, you know, with Belit and Valeria, where
Oh yeah,
yeah. So, but you know, it's like also when it comes to something like that, don't buy it. Don't worry about it. Save your money. Spend your money on something that is that makes it worthwhile. And you know, some publishers may hate you for doing it. Red Sonja Dynamite.
you know, as genre readers, you know, you got to support what you love, and if you love something, read it. And if other people don't love it, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
if Dynamite is watching this, it is okay if people dislike your comics.
Yes.
Don't.
And I get hate weekly from people because I'm a Conan collector, and I don't care. I'll be a Conan collector till the day I die.
Yeah, like I get hate from the property owner, despite being a customer.
Right. And guys, we've talked about Titan Comics for the last 2 weeks for a reason.
I'm not getting hate from Titan Comics.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what they're doing over there is spectacular.
Yeah.
So if you're new to this genre, if you're new to Sword and Sorcery, if you're new to Conan, just do yourself a favor. Jump on what Titan's doing. Jim Zub is doing brilliant writing over there. The art by Doug Braithwaite and Roberto De La Torre has been incredible. The coloring's been great. The lettering's been great. You can't go wrong right now with Conan at Titan Comics. Go give it a shot if you're new to this genre. You will not be disappointed. And if you read it and that genre is not for you, if you read it and then you decide the genre is not for you, then none of it's for you because they're doing it right.
Yeah. And also,
if you read it and you love it, then you need to explore other creators that have done this genre because there's a lot of great stuff out there.
Yeah. And also, I want to follow up to Marv's comment. Yeah. Huge in Italy. Also, since you're from Portugal, also greetings from Austria. And Portugal also has some really nice Conan Red Sonja like variants. I think like in.
Do they color her hair blonde there too?
No, no. So far, I haven't seen not. But there's also, I think, a magazine which translates things to Heroes from TV that has the Frank Vaughan issue number 4 feature Red Sonja cover on there. You know, the beautiful cover. We also have the statue of. So. Yeah, Portugal also really has some very nice variants from classic Conan and classic Red Sonja.
Nice. All right, so guys, we're going to thank you guys for watching, and thank you for anyone that's catching us on the replay. And Torsten and I will be back with something soon. We're always looking to stream together, so fear not. The Savage Duel will be back. But we got to make it special. It's got to be something worth talking about. Exactly. And with all the good things going on at Titan, we had to put our 2 cents in for artists we think deserve a shot on stories over there. So hopefully you guys agreed with us. Hopefully that put in the comments below when you watch this who you'd like to see do some art at Titan Comics. You never know who's watching, guys. You never know who's looking. you might spark an idea that someone didn't have before, and it might lead to one of the best stories you've ever seen and read. So,
and if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
right? But until next time, guys, thank you all so much. And as I like to end these things, keep it casual.